Hey guys, and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. That is crazy to say, but today is the first video, so happy Sunday. And for this video, I decided to discuss one of the biggest things I did this semester, which was join a Panhellenic sorority as a black female. So if you don't know, a Panhellenic sorority is predominantly white, so it did come with a very different experience that I want to share with you guys. So without further ado, let's just get into this video. So I played softball with a girl, and she told me that she was going to USC and that she was also joining a sorority. And that was the first time I ever heard about sororities in general. And I was like, a sorority. So I started to look into it. You know, I went into YouTube University to learn kind of what really is a sorority and kind of what they do from people who are actually in them. After that, I kind of just decided that it was something I was willing to give a try. I looked into it. I wasn't that involved in high school, so I knew going into college that I really wanted to make a change and be a little bit more involved in what I was. And I also wanted something that would take me out of my comfort zone, and believe me, this definitely took me out of my comfort zone. What I was looking for in a sorority was a place where I felt like I would fit and could have an impact on anything like that. Somewhere I felt like I could be myself and be 100% who I am. And that's just what I wanted out of sorority. Like I said, I didn't know much about sororities, so I never had a set name in mind of a sorority. I mean, you hear of some here and there, but other than that, I had no experience or no knowledge of any set sorority. I just wanted to find me a place where I felt like I could be myself. So after I decided to join a sorority, obviously I'm in one, but the journey to get there was completely different. I actually did not go through the formal sorority recruitment, like the rush, that whole 2-week process that everyone loves and hates. I didn't do it. And here's why. I honestly backed out. I was so scared to do it. And I talked myself out of doing it the whole summer, really, before college. I really just talked myself out of it, which I really wish I would have went through it and got that experience. But you know what? It's too late. Can't turn back time. And here's why I didn't rush. I didn't rush because I really didn't know how would I feel being one of a few people of color there. It was going to be a different experience, I knew. And I talked myself out of it. I really contemplated the whole summer of like, would I even be welcomed here? How would I even be perceived by my friends, family, or whatever? I honestly cared too much about what people thought, and I backed out. And then after I got to school and I saw it, and I completely wish that was me and wish I would have did it. I regretted it so much, and I really wanted to be a part of a sorority. I knew I just erased the idea of what people would think about me, and I just went into COB, which is continuous open bidding. And that's how I ended up in a sorority, through that instead of the formal thing I just didn't do. In the COB process, it's very calm, and it's not as much pressure to join. Not real pressure. It's not as quick, I would say, as the formal recruitment. Obviously I can't compare it to because I didn't do it, but from what I hear, it is a different experience. It's very calm, it's very one-on-one, and you can really learn a lot about the sorority before you really get there. So in the first step of my COB process, I went to a Zoom call with 30 other girls. I was kind of nervous before. I don't know if nervous is the right word, but anxious. I was very adamant about seeing how would everything go, and I thought about it the whole day. And I got into the Zoom call, and I did exactly what every single minority does. I looked throughout the whole room to see if I could find anyone who looked like me or similar, and I only found one person. So immediately in that situation, my heart started to race. My heart was pounding. I got super nervous, and I wanted to leave the Zoom call. Obviously I knew going in that that would be the situation, but I didn't really think I was that prepared at the time to actually see that, oh Lord, you are the only black person here. Are you going to be okay? But I stuck through the Zoom call, and I learned so much about the sorority that I am in now. And during the call, we went into breakout rooms with an older member, and she was so nice to me, and I never felt like that she was judging me or trying to talk to me differently just because I was black. She literally talked to me the exact same way she talked to the other girl in the room. And in that moment, where we was having this good conversation. I was like, okay, I'm fine, you know what? And I completely enjoyed it. It ended up turning out way better than what I expected. And then after that, about a couple days later, I got another text saying that they enjoyed the conversation and would like to continue to chat. So I did that, and then I found out I had to FaceTime a member, and oh my god, if you know me, I'm not good at talking to people I don't know. And here I go again. The heart rate is pounding. I am nervous again. And in my head, I was like, oh my god, I have to FaceTime. I'm not good at FaceTime at all. I don't chat with people for a long time on FaceTime. And I didn't know how long the conversation was going to be. But when I got there and I was talking to her, I completely enjoyed it. Same thing. The conversation just flowed so easily. And honestly, I talked to her for about an hour and a half, and I have never talked to anyone for an hour and a half unless it was like my best friend or my mom. So that was kind of eye-opener for me, as like this might be a place for me where I can feel like I would fit, and everything went well. And then a couple days later, funny story, I was taking my statistics exam. Well, I haven't like hit begin, like the time haven't started running or anything, but the corner of my eye, my phone was ringing, and something in my head was just telling me, Bree, answer the phone. Just answer the phone. So I decided to answer the phone, and I got a bid into the sorority that I'm in now. And I was so excited that I actually failed my statistics exam, which is not funny at all. But I was so distracted because I was so happy about getting a bid that I didn't pay attention to a single question on that exam, and I failed it, which I ended up getting the grade back up, so it's completely fine now. And it's funny now, but in that time it was not funny at all. So yeah, that was how I ended up joining. And even though that was very fun, it did come with some obstacles after I accepted the bid. First, I'm just going to start out by telling like 2 things that happened like right after I joined. So the first thing that happened was I posted on my Snapchat story. It was the first ever post I ever made about my sorority. And someone slid up and said, oh my god, you pledged Delta. Delta is a part of the D9 organizations. I did not pledge Delta, but they just assumed that I pledged Delta, and I had to explain like I didn't pledge Delta, and it was a very awkward conversation. And then, I kid you not, probably about a week later, it was time for the USC and Auburn football game. That was the only game I got to go to this semester, which kind of sucks. But I went, I had my nice little sorority button on, you know, that we wear on game days and stuff. And I was at Soda City, and I was buying something from this vendor, and he saw the button. He kept looking at it, and he said, oh, you're in the D9 sorority. And to me, I just felt that he said that because I have Greek letters on me and that I am black, so that makes me in a D9. And I completely understand that he was trying to make conversation, but it immediately got so awkward when I said no, I wasn't in a D9. Then I had to explain to him that I was actually in a different sorority, that I wasn't a part of a D9. And he was just like, oh, okay. But it was awkward. And after both of those things happened, I knew I was always going to have to explain my reasoning of joining a Panhellenic sorority, or the fact that I am black in a Panhellenic sorority in general. And I actually did. I had to explain to people, friends, family, whatever. Always. That's just one thing that comes a part of it. You're always going to have to explain, which is very weird to me because I never had to explain any of my decisions before until this. But you know what? It is what it is. It's just one of those things that happens because a lot of people just don't understand. And after having to explain so much, I started to get very insecure about my decision. And it wasn't even like around my sorority sisters that I felt that way, but it was when I was around different people of where I felt like, oh my god, everyone is judging me and they looking at me. It was just an insecurity that I had, and in all actuality, I bet half the people I met didn't even care at all, but that was just the way I felt. And you kind of have no one to talk to about it because people just don't understand. Like, I didn't know anyone else who joined a Panhellenic sorority. Like, I didn't know anyone that I could talk to. And people don't understand, like, the difference, because it is different. And it's not common at all. I wouldn't even consider this very normal. And I had no one to talk to about it because it was a little weird at the beginning. So those was like very, yeah, you don't have no one to talk to because people really just don't understand. But now, hey, if you're in the same boat, feel free to talk to me. Here's my Instagram, shoot me a DM or whatever. It does not matter. I will be the person you can talk to. But now, being like a semester into my sorority, I'm fine. You know what? I really don't deal with that anymore. It was just those beginning stages of where I kind of felt insecure about my decision. To me, I just felt like your cousin is in a D9, she's a Delta, and you go over here and do this. That was just how I felt like people reacted to it, which they may have, they may not, I don't really know. And and that was just hard for me at the time, and I'm saying this with a smile because, like, you know what, it is what it is. It's definitely have been an experience for me. For this last part of this video, I just wanted to give my advice. My advice would be just go for it. Honestly, just do it, regardless of who you are, what type of sorority, anything. If you have like the slightest idea of wanting to join a sorority but very scared to, just go for it. You would never know the experience you will have. You can look at this video and thousands of others, and I promise you, everyone is going to have a different experience. Not every single sorority is the same. Not every single school is the same. But like I was saying, you're never going to know the experience that you're going to have. You could have a good experience or you could have a terrible experience, but it's better to know than to not. You don't want to be in your head about it and be like, oh, what if it been like this? What if I enjoyed it? Or X, Y, and Z. It's just better to know, regardless of if this is good or bad. So for my second thing of advice, regardless if you decide to rush or go through COB or whatever, just be yourself. Honestly, that's just the best advice I can give you. If a sorority don't like you for you, then that's just not the place you belong. My third thing of advice is to follow sororities on social media. I followed every single sorority at USC, Panhellenics and D9s, on Instagram. Social media is not going to tell you everything you need to know about a sorority, but you at least get a kind of an idea of the sororities. If you're anything like me, going in, I couldn't even tell you 5 sororities off the top of my head, and following them on Instagram kind of gave me an idea of like kind of where I felt like I would fit and like what could have been a good place for me. Oh, also, this kind of ties into the following on social media thing, but do your research. Find out about these sororities, especially if you don't know nothing about them. Kind of find out the time commitment or what goes into it. Honestly, I was very surprised about the amount of time commitment you have to give when you're a new member. Look into what goes into sorority life. Like, you're not just going to be meeting friends. You have to do community service and have X amount of hours depending on your sorority, and it is a time commitment. So learn before you join. Just do it. Be yourself. Follow on social media and do your research. Those are my 4 things of advice. So, and with that, this is the end of the video. And if you have anything that you think we should discuss or talk about, put them down in the comments below. But with all that being said, I hope you enjoy your Sunday. Like I said, happy holidays. Thank you so much for joining and watching the first video. So bye.